All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Drawn to DC. We took the week off last week, um, just to get us ready for this because this took a while. So we've been hunkered down playing through Gotham Knights because it actually worked out our schedules this time, where it's like we actually had free time. So we're like, hey, anytime, day or night, when the kids were napping or the wives were asleep, we're like, we got to get this done and get this reviewed. So we did. So we played Gotham Knights, a long time coming. This one, before we kind of get into our thoughts, our spoil free thoughts, you and I both, and I still think this is true. The game looks great. I think it looks really good, but I don't see how they couldn't have fit this on older consoles.
It's not a very big game. Like I
No,
looked at it, only put like 30 hours in.
yeah, we and that's us doing all of the side missions. That's us doing all of the story, and it was only about 30 hours. So, but I get that we're just gonna that's the world we live in now. That it's gonna be on the newer consoles, and I understand. I never made a game, but I can understand how it would be hard to be like, well, we're pushing it for this console, but we're gonna kind of leave these behind because we just don't have the time for that or whatever. But my big gripe with that, and I usually don't complain about this, if you're gonna do the new consoles, then you have got to be pumping harder graphics than that. At the very least, it should be 60 frames a second or 60 frames per second, in my opinion. But if I'm being totally honest, I wouldn't really care if. But you know what? I got it now. PS5 is what I have. You have it on PS5. It is what it is. So let's jump into this because we usually do the animated movies. Now we're talking about video games. Spoiler free thoughts. Luke, what did you think of this game? Without spoiling anything, just kind of overall how you felt about it. It's a
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I
yeah.
did. I don't think it would have been as fun, and I wouldn't have liked it as much as if I was by myself. Because
Yeah.
if I was playing, because I did do a couple like I'm just gonna go beat up some thugs. I'm gonna go get some secret caches to get up
Random
to
crimes or
boost,
whatever.
to boost my levels. Because you played it or you played a few things before I started playing it. So I was basically just trying to level up to catch up to you so that we could continue the story.
Yeah.
So it was like it's just very grindy,
Yeah.
and that's my biggest gripe. And because like the customization part is probably my favorite part, but I still have problems with it because it's
Yeah.
just because the part where you have to unlock each suit, but you can only upgrade certain things, and you have to upgrade it to do this, and you have to do that to do that, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's redundant, and it should just be a skin. You upgrade yourself, and then you just change the way you look.
Yeah,
Is
you
what
can
that should have
you
been.
can tell this is a game that was made in 2022 at the height of like it reminds me a lot because I never beat it, but I played a good portion of Avengers, and this is better than that game, but it's very similar vibe for me where it's like there's so many things that I like about this game, but then there's so many decisions I was like I just didn't like it. I didn't vibe with it. I think you're right on some aspect. I love the customization, but if you noticed, after a while, they just recycle the same suits, but they just raise the level on them and raise the power on them. So then you're like, oh well, I'll just craft this, and that kind of annoyed me. But I understand that like you could probably only really make so many suits, but um, the thing,
This is just coming from me,
yeah,
and I customize. I feel like they should give you more customization power, where you can combine this with that. You can pull this mask, and you can wear this suit, and you can do more of the color schemes, and you can do more of because there because at one point you would think that they would give like a Jason with the domino because I played Red Hood majority of the game, if
mm-hmm.
not the whole game, but like at some point because they give Tim his Red Robin, and they have
Yeah,
different stuff, and then you have Barbara with the full cowl without the cowl, just the domino, and I was kind of hoping that we would get
Uh,
some homage to Jason's Robin a
there's
little
even
bit.
I think you have to pay. It's like a bonus one that you could pre-order with a pre-order. It might have been you can just be like one you can buy for like $3 or like a costume pack. But they even have a Batgirl of Cassandra Cain, like the
I'm
full
pretty
mask and everything.
sure they have
It might be
more
her
class.
knighthood too.
They have a classic Robin skin for Nightwing, which is kind of cool. But like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they need to do. They should have had more. They gave
Um,
you. They should. They didn't do enough. I don't think.
yeah. Well, it's funny when you and I were playing it. Um, you and I kind of came to the same conclusion where it's like, I, it's a 7 out of 10 game, right? But I don't think that's a problem. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part is, I don't think this game sold well enough, so we're probably not going to get a sequel. I want a sequel. I want to
Yeah.
see what they could do with this because I think there's so much to this game that they got wrong, but there's so many things they got right. I think like again without going because
Well, the co-op
we're
was
gonna go
fantastic.
in yeah we're gonna go into the whole
Like,
plot here in a minute, but like yeah there's the dynamic with all four characters and you actually they do feel like friends and they feel like siblings.
mm-hmm.
Not so much Barbara and Dick because they have a romantic past, but they're still you know you believe that they're friends, you know what I mean? And like that they get that right. I think it has
They
a
did do
lot
a lot of daddy issues and stuff too, because they're all like
yeah.
they're trying that they're getting all this like mentorship and this father figure from Alfred and like trying to like justify the things that Bruce did for them and then they're the longing of just the emotion that
Well, it's
you
a
get.
found family story.
Yeah.
It's all about found family. And I think again they nail so much of that, but then it gets bogged down by the monotonous stuff where it's like
Crappy
I,
dialogue.
well, there's some of that, but there's also like just gameplay wise. I was thinking of like almost every case file you have to like go and beat up enemies and interrogate them, and I do in some aspects like that they like play up the detectiveness and you're gonna have to rely more on that, you know. Those are good, there's good moments of that in the game, but like just the fucking monotonous gotta go find these random enemies, hit them a few times, don't kill them. We had a lot of problems where we keep knocking the
Yeah.
dudes out
We
because
honestly
because
we
I was
played
so overpowered I was just whopping them with like 2 hits because I was a couple levels higher than you.
we played 31 hours of this game. We probably could have dumbed it down to like maybe 24, but there's probably a solid 5 6 hours of us just beating all these people and then go, oh wait, we're supposed to interrogate those
Yeah.
guys. I mean, it's
Or
mad.
that also counts to like 3 or 4 hours we did of the heroic assault stuff.
Yeah, and then
But
the labyrinth where you're
I kept dying. You know what? I do have I do have footage of that. I'll probably play that over right here so you can watch me just fucking fail. I'll just do like a super cut of every time I die. Because I did record that part of the gameplay and then I turned it off until I got with you and I was like, this isn't usable. And then I'm like, the only way it's gonna be usable if I turn it into a meme and make fun of myself. No, because it was you were laughing at me because I was so fucking pissed. I was like, just finish the damn pet labyrinth
dude,
yourself, Luke.
what part are you at? I give
I'm
up,
way
dude.
back here, dude.
I'm waiting on you. Well, you're
I,
still
I
up there.
literally at one point I think I did like sit my controller down and like go piss and come back. I'm pretty sure. But but there's just things like that. And again, the thing that I can't forgive, and this should have been available out of the like soon as you load up the city, as soon as you jump out there, you should have your traversal options. Making you sit there and do these monotonous little challenges with every single character is stupid. I just that to me that is this just reeks of padding of a game. And like look, I understand there's an investment. If you're buying this game straight up when it comes out, that's $70. And I understand that. So there's a little bit of the developers being like, we want to give people bang for their buck. I got I got 30 hours of this game and I was happy with that. And
Granted, we $20, but
I paid half price because it was on sale. But still, like a great example, Spider-Man PS4. Oh, and I bought that out of the box, you know, 2018. That game's about 24 hours, 25 hours long. You could beat it in a weekend. I never complained about that. But I understand that is also my perspective of being a dad and having a family where I'm like, when I can get that time in and just, I appreciate when games are like, this is it, 20 hours. All right, I can knock this out on a weekend, or I can knock it out in a couple days or whatever.
Was it?
But yeah, go
I
ahead.
like, I like, and Arkham does a good job. The Arkham series did a good job about this. Is we have this main story. It's probably 20 hours, but then we also have like 10, 15 hours of side stuff
The
that
side
that have
missions are so good,
that have nothing to do with the main story arc.
and they're so good.
So like you could do the main story, and then you can go off and do the rest of it later. And I enjoy that because I'm somebody who likes to get more and likes to milk it. So I'll 100% a game, but that's because I
That's,
buy
you're
it.
like hyper fixate on that game.
Yeah, that's the one game that I have for
Yeah.
how long because I
Oh,
know I don't have a lot of time.
I am going to stretch every minute of Spider-Man 2, man. I was the same way when the first Spider-Man came out. I was the same, like, because there were, and what I'll do is I'll say what you do, but I will only milk it after I tell myself slow down. Like when I was playing Red Dead 2, no shit, I got back from vacation and I had one day left of vacation before work. I played that game 12 hours straight. And so I was like hooked into that main story. And at one point when I was playing it, I'm like, you know what I haven't done? I haven't done any of the side stuff. And then I spent like 2 or 3 hours hunting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I will give this game credit. I think the villains, and we'll talk more in depth about that as we end this segment. But I will say, I think the side missions were fun and worth the time. I think all the boss fights were fun for the most part. Excuse me. And you know what? They were challenging. I feel like a lot of times in the games that I play, I feel like sometimes I get to a boss and it doesn't really feel as challenging as it should be. And I will say every boss was pretty challenging. Clayface was so hard because we were playing at a much higher level than we should have been.
You're
But
like what, like 17, and it's supposed to be like 24.
yeah, I was like 23 to
It was like
25.
we weren't getting anywhere. I'm like I think it's supposed to be at a higher level.
But that's the thing. We liked that storyline. So we're like, we wanted to keep finishing out the Clayface story shit. So we were like, let's keep going. And then we hit the end of it. And we're like, oh, damn. And then the flip side of that, on the Harley mission, we were way over leveled. So we beat the fuck out of Harley on her final fight, which was
Yeah,
great.
that was
All right.
anti-life.
So from now on, let me see. I got to turn this on. Hold on. I got to turn on my button. Whoa, I knocked my camera over. Vamp, Luke. Say stuff.
I mean, I don't know. No. So, I like to actually. I'll talk about my suit that I prefer most of the game. I look like a pirate before.
Oh, the privateer ones?
The privateer ones are pretty. I like them a lot. Like, and I always like to incorporate like my accent color into the full suit. So I was always red gauntlets, red boots,
Oh,
red
yeah.
mask, the full on red symbol. Because character design, that's another thing I want to talk about quick. Uh,
I don't know if you could hear
enjoy,
that.
I did enjoy the, and I think it's stupid, and it's like most people who are playing these games are at a maturity level to understand who's who. But the fact that they
Oh, the
went
Power
for
Rangers?
the '90s Power Rangers trope, but like
Yeah.
they have to have the same color in their civilian clothes to like make you understand that that's who they are. Because like
Yeah.
Jason's always wearing red, Dick's always wearing blue, Tim's in green, Barbara's in yellow, and like dude,
Purple and yeah.
these are the only other people in this entire game.
They're the
Who,
only ones that are gonna see each other in these clothes too. Like nobody's gonna
yeah,
see that.
this is so stupid.
All right.
But
So anyway, we're diving into spoilers. So
Pizza time.
it's spoilers one more time. Here's your chance to get out.
Pizza time.
All right. That's my spoiler time sounder. It's pizza time. So yeah, the main story of this, I will say, the bold strategy in this game's story, where like the first you boot this game up, and I shit you not, it's like a 15 to 20 minute cutscene, and it's actually a pretty badass fight. Like it was pretty sick.
Yeah.
So Batman
Batman
literally lands on his car to start this game. Like it's so awesome. So yeah, we find out he's fighting Ra's al Ghul. They fight each other to the death, and that sets up the main story.
explodes. He sends the distress call out to the Knights. Like, hey, bro,
It's the final message.
yeah.
Destroys the Batcave, destroys everything. So yeah, they have the funeral for Bruce, and then we also find out that, oh, well, because he's Batman, he's always got these plans. He's got a different headquarters set up, and it's this old clock tower, abandoned clock tower that he owns, and it's called the Belfry, and that's your base of operations for the game.
Which
Yeah.
is it's I like that it's its own story, but it's also got the nods to like everything else because it is the Watchtower and it's Oracle's base of operations and all
Yeah.
that. So it's I like the subtlety with that while making it its own thing.
Mm-hmm. And well, what's funny about this too is, as you mentioned, I got this game before you did because I got my PS5 earlier, and I had played a couple hours and I kind of just stopped because I was just waiting for you to pick it up. Because these first couple missions, and that's another thing that I think is an issue with this game, is it kind of kills its own momentum a little bit, and it kind of slows down its own pacing. Where like you have this big epic fight scene with Raish and Batman, and this whole setup, and then it just kind of just slows down a little bit. Like I feel like the tutorial missions are a little slow.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then you follow one of the, you start building up the case. Why did Raish kill Batman? Who's after him, everything. So then they follow the footsteps of Kirk Langstrom. And this is again where I think the pace is a little slow, but it does work for its favor of like when you actually have to you find out he's dead, you find this hard drive, but then you've got to start you have to do a crime scene investigation. Because you go to a morgue after you have the hard drive and you find this dead body, and you've got it because it can only be used with the DNA encryption. So you have to find, his dead body to open it. But yeah, you still have to you still do like a little puzzle. And I'll be honest, Luke, I think you did the same thing. I skipped all of these investigations after a while because it gives you an option. And I'm dumb. I'm not good at puzzles.
First one, I think it wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy either. And I think I figured it out. It took me a while,
Yeah.
but there's a couple of them when we were co-oping it, and you were just like, "No, fuck it," and you skipped it, and I was like, "Oh, I got it," and I was like, "No, wait, no, you skipped it."
But there were a few puzzles that you did get right as I was looking up the solution. Because I'm
Yeah.
sorry, if I don't get a puzzle like in like a couple minutes, I look it up.
That's part of the reason why I always like the Arkham games, and I always and Riddler's always been my favorite villain, is because I like the detective aspect of it, and I like those little puzzles. Like I'm not gonna sit and spend hours trying to figure it out either, because like I try to do it, and if I don't do it in a certain amount of time, then yeah, I look it up. But
Yeah.
I do enjoy, because some of them were stupid, like the labyrinth, and like that was dumb. But because I feel like some of them they made too many options to get the right answer.
Yeah,
like
because a lot of it is just trial and error.
Because we were doing the Denisium or whatever, and it's like you got 6 different vials, you got 6 different, and then you got 6 different other things, and and like your dude, I don't have time to try and do each individual one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But anyway, so that's kind of your introduction to how you do investigations and crime scene stuff. So then we get a message from Harley Quinn, which is kind of setting up the side villain stuff. So because she's the first side villain we run into. So you have to go to Blackgate because that's where she's locked up. So now I have a question for you. Do you think, and I think how do I phrase this properly? Do you think at any point Joker was involved in this game?
no,
Because I feel like this game goes out of its way to not even talk about Joker. Like, and that's something I will say that could be a critique of this story, but you and I being Batman fans love it, and I think it works just fine. I think most people will pick up on this. There's a lot of filling in the gaps of just knowing Batman lore to know some things, Like they mentioned that Jason's killed and brought back in this, but they never talk about Joker at all. Like he is never. I don't even think they mention his name.
Yeah.
Which it's fine. I respect that. If you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it.
Well,
And
especially when the last 4 games
yeah, it's
of
Joker.
this
Yeah.
unrelated trilogy or unrelated spinoff is Joker. So I get why they wanted to not do Joker.
Yeah, and I think the game is
And I'm
better
okay with
for that. Yeah, I'm with you.
I did like the subtle nods of how Jason was beat to pulp and like that and like again I like the character design. You have a giant scar across Jason's face. I think that's a cool touch.
and this game is its own canon, so they could have been. It didn't have to be Joker. It could
Yeah,
have been somebody else. But then again, I feel like Harley can only exist with Joker, so Joker it had to be in this world at some point. But I respect them just saying, no, we're not doing that. We're doing something else. And I also respect that they did Clayface, they did Freeze, they did Harley Quinn because they've just accepted that pretty much every character in Batman lore was in those Arkham games, and are like, that's we're doing this, but without a Batman. This is still going to be different. So this is probably one of my favorite parts of the game. So you get into the penitentiary, you do a little investigating to develop the story, then you talk to Harley, and then you go in and you have to fight in a prison riot. Meanwhile, Livin' La Vida Loca is being covered with like a punk rock band covering it, and it slaps. That song, I love that version, by the way. I even listened to it on Spotify after we played it. I was like, this song is a banger. But this is what's so crazy about the game is you have that moment always sticks out to me because I played it twice. So I'd already passed this point by myself and then going back and playing with you. And I kept telling you as we're playing, I'm like, just wait till you get to the end of this level. It's going to be so much fun. And it's such a memorable part that stands out because it's so different than every part of the game, every other part of the game. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of style and personality in it. And then it goes back to like doom and gloom for a while until the end of it. And I just thought that's why that level always sticks out. Plus, it's fun because yeah, you're hearing this song and you're literally just they do a great thing too of like, oh, the cops are corrupt, so you're fighting everybody. You're
yeah. And I do like how at the end of each mission you go back to the Belfry and it gives you a synopsis and it's like how many cops did you save? But it's like
oh, I didn't notice that.
yeah, like when it shows you your stats, you can scroll through and it'll tell you like how many thugs you beat up, how many crimes you solved, how many things you did, and it shows you how many cops you saved. And I'm like, but how many of them did I beat up? There's a few missions or like side things where you go past a bunch of cops and they just swarm you.
Yeah.
And I love that the cops are overpowered.
Oh
I
yeah.
hate it, love it at the same time because it's like obviously.
Yeah, because they got all they're militarized pretty much. But yeah, who knew that Gotham Knights was so woke and anti-police? No, but I love that because after every time you're out and about doing like crimes and again doing interrogations, doing the random crimes to hit your quota to develop the next story mission. If you stay too long where you beat everybody up, like we were, like when we pull up the map and try and go, the cops will come up and shoot you, and it's like, okay, that's fun.
Good, we got them here, vigilantes.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have that Harley fight, which again I think was one of the better parts of the game, and then we get another lead that we have to go investigate the Ultra Elite Powers Club, and that's where we hear more about the Court of Owls,
which is cool. I like that they did something different.
Actually, isn't it before that? I think before that, actually, you set up the Penguin side stuff. You have to go to the Iceberg Lounge to get a lead from.
Oh yeah, because we find out that
because Penguin's a snitch.
Yeah, some of the people in Arkham were getting off, and Penguin was the only one that was doing his full sentence, and because they were like people were killing off witnesses and different things, and they were getting people out. So they went and talked to Penguin,
and then he talks about the Court of Owls. Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
cool that we get a little bit different storyline.
Well, you know what's funny is how much I wonder how much if he even I don't even think this works this way. I don't know how the business side of comic books work. But if you're Scott Snyder, man, you got to be just rolling in it how many times they fucking use Court of Owls. And you know what else is interesting? This is very and I think I mentioned it when we were playing it. This is very reminiscent of Son of Batman, which is kind of funny that we recently watched that because I'm like, there's so many beats in this. I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. So they don't like either we're talking about the Scott Snyder Court of Owls or the Son of Batman, they do a really good job of using that mythos, but still coordinating it in a different way. And
Yeah.
you said
And
it
that's
when we
what
were
I was
playing.
saying. It's like it's a lot of nods and like it's a lot of pull from all the lore and all the stuff, with it still being its own version, its own, you know.
Yeah. And you said and what's interesting too is that what they've done with court. So like they have this thing that's very new. The Court of Owls is only like 10 years old. And because it was new 52 stuff. And they implement that in these three different things, but each time, like you talked about it when we were playing, each time the leader, the voice of the owls is a different person. And that's honestly kind of awesome. And I think even more to me layers in the lore of that of being like, well, they've been around for hundreds of years. They're going to have multiple leaders, like I love that kind of idea that we each version of the Court of Owls is a different person and a different leader. And that's honestly pretty dope. Um, so they infiltrate the Powers Club, and then we learn about some more information. The court is searching for the Fountain of Youth, which we know they really mean the Lazarus Pit. And I want to say this: you and I both called it from a country mile away that Bruce Wayne and the Lazarus Pit is going to play a role in this game. Because
Yeah.
you're not going to have the League of Shadows and the Court of Owls in a fucking gang war if it ain't over the Lazarus Pit.
Yeah. Well, and especially when it's, and I mean, I guess you could just pull it out when we continually talk about
Yeah, we can
when
kind of jump around a little bit if you want.
when Jason died and came back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I was electric. But like, obviously, it's a big plot point because this is very reminiscent of Arkham Knight when we got Jason flashbacks the whole time. To spoiler alert, basically just laid out there. The first time we see it is Arkham Knight is actually Red Hood, Jason Todd.
Again, you and I both called that from a country mile away too.
Yeah,
They tipped their hand pretty early.
Yeah, they started showing all these flashbacks and all these like different things. And you're just like, well, who else is it going to be? They're not going to create a new. I mean, they created a new character just to make it the same character.
Yeah. Well, and
But
it's funny too for me is like you and I both called it because we're into Batman lore. Maybe if someone that's playing this game that's like, oh, it's cool, it's going to be like a new Batman game without Batman, but there's this cool game, maybe doesn't know a ton of the lore, but I'm like, you don't involve Ra's al Ghul and the League of Shadows if you're not including the Lazarus Pit. You can, but let's be honest, they're tied to each other. That's just what it is.
especially when you have the your love interest who is batshit crazy, doing side missions and stuff, and being in the game of I don't care, bro. I just want your seed.
So we go in the hideout. We find out, yes, the Court of Owls is real. I will say this: the towns.
It's pretty dark when you first, because they're gonna crucify this dude.
Oh yeah. They're like gonna sacrifice
This whole like ritual thing, and you fall into this pit with him.
Oh yeah, you're talking about when you find all the fucking bones and everything.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like they've been doing this for hundreds of years because if you deny the court, they deny you, and it's this whole like death to the non-believer type deal, which is creepy, but I love it.
Oh, everything they did, like even as much as I hated that fucking labyrinth, everything they did that kind of like tipped into this like more gothic, creepy element of the Batman mythos with the court of, and that's what they've always been, and that's why I think they've only been around for like 10 or so years, but people really connect with it because it's so creepy and it like ties to the like the gothic side of Batman. And yeah, I think the introduction is great. And that, yeah, dude, that the whole sequence where you fall down and then you leave and you escape and you're like just all these fucking skulls and bones and shit. I was like, that's such a cool intro, and that's a lot of bodies too.
Like I
So
said,
well, and
100
then
years of
yeah,
Gotham
yeah,
Knights.
and in this lore, there's a prequel comic called Gilded City that talks. It has two timelines running at the same time. So it has like the ancestor Bruce Wayne, who is like himself kind of like a gunslinging vigilante, and that is just a way that exists to describe. And then there's the current timeline, and it's basically to say like, oh yeah, the Court of Owls is still around, and it's still been doing. They've been doing this shit since Gotham City was founded. So it's like again, it's cool. Does a really good job of making them menacing. I think it does a really good job of world building, and just yeah, just setting up the stakes. And I think it was smart to do Night of Owls or Court of Owls, excuse me. I think it was smart to do that, especially for what they wanted to do with having these four overcome something like that. And of course, it's something from
Ironically enough, the Gotham Knights TV show that tanked, we're doing Court Owls too. We're doing that too, which is kind
yeah,
of
I
like
know they tried to copy the game a little bit, but then they totally ignored it when they're like, "Oh, it's the daughter of the Joker."
dude.
My
Ugh.
God, I won't. I'm sorry. Props to you if you ever want to review it as like a joke episode for something. I okay, but if unless I'm making it for content, I'm not watching it.
Yeah, no, I just that's the only way I want to watch it because like obviously it's not good.
Yeah.
I just I want a Bat Family show so bad.
And it's like that's the whole thing
And
I
it's
kept
so
saying
easy.
this whole game.
And
It's
it would be
right
so
there.
easy. So easy.
You and I talk, especially Nightwing. Nightwing's got to be the most slam dunk character, dude. It's like you said, it's all the things about Batman without being Batman, and it doesn't like. You can see a funnier, more ingenuity. Batman uses a lot more ingenuity. He's funny. Like Dick is great. Like anytime he's so they again the writing all these characters I think is pretty spot on for the most part. And like there's moments when I was playing with you being Red Hood, being this brooding dick the whole time, and then again Dick like balances him out and makes jokes. But and I told you there's cool. Now they're really cheesy, but I think it's really cool to have those like character specific moments. And one of them, I was telling you about it because this is what's interesting about the co-op. It's untethered, so you could be on the other side of the map doing shit, and I'll still be over here doing my thing. So I was catching up to where you were, but then I saw a little Nightwing logo to continue my backstory stuff. So I was like, oh, I'll jump to that real fast. I jump in. Funny enough, it's Red Hood. While you're playing as Red Hood, makes me laugh even harder because it's it's like it's his own little reality. But there's a funny little scene where Red Hood's just brooding on a rooftop. And Dick is like, hey, I like what you've done with the place. Looks nice. Yeah, maybe put up a couch or something. And then Jason's not having it. Doesn't care what he's like, whatever, dude. And he just goes, I guess I'm gonna and then he said, like, you can leave anytime. I'm like, oh, I'll wait here all night. And like this is his whole thing. And then he does like he like Jason shoves him playfully, and then he like acts like he falls off the side of the building. And then Jason looks over the building like, Dick, where did you? Like he's freaking out. And then he's doing a handstand, walking on his hands, being like, dude, I'm an acrobat. Like, and it was just that little moment. And then they just sat down together like brothers and just, sat. And then this cutscene ends, and then I go do my thing. And that's the shit that I live for, man. That's the shit I love. And that I agree with you. There's no way that shouldn't work in a movie. Like, again, you know why everybody loves Guardians of the Galaxy? It's because it's a bunch of losers and misfits that found each other. And that's why I think this game, the heart of it is so effective. All the gameplay shit aside, this game has so much heart and so much care put into it that's why I like it so much. Is I can forgive all the shitty gameplay stuff as long as it's a really good story. And yeah, I just like little moments like that, or as cheesy as it was with Barbara and Jason playing Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah.
it still was a good, like, I still liked it in the sense because you're still seeing him deal with the PTSD of, like, I don't know, dying and coming back to life.
Yeah. There's a
Um,
few cut scenes that I had in the kitchen with Jason and Dick too, and it's like completely stupid because Jason's all about I want to go beat some dudes up, and then it's like Barbara and like Dick being like, you gotta have a plan. You gotta know why you're going and beating these dudes up. You gotta know this. You gotta know that. And then he's like, you're right. And then he like they're like cooking dinner, and then he like grabs a knife and he's like, I know something we could do for this chili that'll taste good. Like just dumb stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, you know what? I can contribute to this team too.
oh, can I also just say they fucking nailed Alfred? He is so good in this game. Like, I love Alfred in this game. And one of my cut scenes that I got is Dick. And not even the one that comes later in the game. This was a different one. And he's got like some frozen peas on his shoulder or whatever. He's like, oh, and Alfred comes up to him and he's talking to him. And again, Dick has so much self-doubt because Dick, funny as he is, he's also pretty insecure because he doesn't feel like he could fill in Bruce's footsteps or boots or whatever the shit. And he's down on himself. And then Alfred just goes, he liked you. He felt you were the most like him. That's why he thinks you can do this. That's why he always thought you could do this. And that's like has that light bulb moment for Dick of like, yeah, that's why Batman was fine with him taking over Bloodhaven because he's like, you can take care of your own city. You're good enough to do this. You're just, it's like, again, little moments like that. We don't even get me started on the fucking post-credit scene. I didn't cry, but I was like, I just had a big smile. But we're gonna go ahead.
Story was done. Some of the story was stupid. Some of
the dialogue is bad. I'm not gonna pretend it wasn't.
At the same time, like the main overall of it, you're like, man, you just do this. Like, make this a movie.
Why do we have to grind everything? Just make this.
Yeah.
So yeah, at this point in the story, we investigate the Night of the Owls more. God, I keep saying Night of the Owls. Court of the Owls.
It would be a sweet name for the movie.
That's the name of it might have been City of Owls. City of Owls is the name of the book. So the first volume is City of Owls, and the second volume is Court of Owls. But Night of the Owls, I think, is like an event. I'm not sure of event of it happening. Like it's the Night of the Owl. Anyway, we investigate more. We find out that the voice of the court turned out to be Jacob Kane, Bruce's uncle. Also, he knew about Bruce and he knew about all of the Bat family, knew all their secret identities. And I really liked this one because you had to, you and I, it was so funny because one of us would try and communicate to the other one, let's do stealth, right? And we would. But the problem is, and I've had this, there's a couple times in this game where I've gotten frustrated because there are certain button prompts, but you have to have the camera angle facing the right way for it to show up on the screen to use it. And the problem is the silent takedown button is the same as your ranged attack. And so when you get close enough, you hit triangle to do the silent takedown, but the character would move, like the guy would move or my guy would move, whatever the case may be. But yeah, they'd move and I'd shoot a dart at him. I'm like, all right, let's fucking go. And then we start brawling. But this game, this level, the masquerade stuff, you had to just sneak the whole way through, which I kind of dug. That they kind of just like, no, this is a stealth mission, just do it stealth. But I will say that to me, that's a plus in the game's favor that it allowed us to play guns blazing, run in and beat the shit out of everybody, or stealth. I appreciate that they gave us that variety in regular gameplay. So yeah, we have to do that. Now, this is the next part that I thought was cool. So we knew about Raish. We had talked to Talia a few times throughout the story. So I'm like, well, of course the assassins are going to come back. And when they do show up, they're just slaughtering fucking rich people.
Yeah.
They're just slaughtering the owls. And it's like, it was really cool. I was kind of bummed out, but I also respect it as a design choice because I thought, oh God, we're going to have to run through and beat the fuck out of the owls and the assassins and fight our way out. But no, you just run out. And I kind of like that. I did like that. You're like, no, you just get out of there. They killed everybody. Just get out. Like there's a few guys that you like fight, but for the most part, you're just sprinting out of the building. Um. So yeah, what did you think of the League of Assassins showing up?
This, all right. I
Yeah.
because a lot of it I kind of remember. I don't remember. Um,
I just remember them fucking murdering everybody. That's all I
because I
remember.
know because yeah, I know that, but like I don't remember. I guess I don't remember the order of events and like the sequence of things because I just remember fighting them over again, over and
Well,
over. They just disappear and reappear
yeah.
and like and poof and like I hated that, but
So
I liked that it was different from all the other just regular thugs.
yeah. So I want to kind of keep pushing through of like the main story because I do want to talk about the side villains as well because I think I think the side villains are kind of great. I really enjoyed them in this game. So yeah, we get enough information to say, hey, this is Jacob Kane. We go to Renee Montoya. So she's like, okay, they know our identity. She knows the Knight's identity, so like she's on board to help them. She's like the one good cop in Gotham. Because by the way, Jim Gordon's dead in this canon. I forgot to mention that. Uh, in between here is where we ran into the labyrinth. So you show up to confront the Penguin about the Court of Owls thing, and then he gasses you. And
Yeah,
this is, or yeah, it was either me or them, or me or you, is what he said. And so you get knocked out, and this was cool. So we were again playing in co-op. They split us up, so we were each in our own separate labyrinth, which I thought was pretty cool.
yeah, and it was. I finally got out of it, but it took
I
so
can't
long.
believe you did it. We talked about it earlier. I almost broke my damn
You wake
controller.
up,
I was like,
you wake
no.
up, you literally start over every time. You start all over.
Yeah, you
And I
started at the
got
very beginning. Yeah,
and I got to a point where I basically hit a checkpoint. So I would wake up, but I would skip the first couple of spots, and then I would just have to do the next one. And then finally, you get to this room with a puzzle, and it's like this big sphere ball thing. You have to hit all these like little checkpoint things to get the ball to spin around, and then it opens the door. And
meanwhile, I'm bitching in his ears like about how much I keep dying. Labyrinth.
I'm I'm trying to do this stupid puzzle, and I'm like, oh, there's another one. Okay, and I get it, and you just go, thanks, dude.
Yeah, because I teleported into the next room and I was like, great. And again, you'll probably see it on the game. I'm pretty sure I got that on the gameplay because like there's a point where I stop because I kept dying, and then I just record it right before I hop into your room. So I'm like, I'll just. So yeah, I still got to do the super cut of me just eating shit. And every time you would die, there would be a different picture of how you died.
Yeah, that I think that was a funny touch.
Yeah, because the game is just fucking with you at that point, just taunting.
Yeah, just mocking you.
Um, so then we finally get through and fight our way to Kane. Finally get him, but while we have him in our custody, he gets fucking sniped by a
Yep.
mystical
Hero.
league arrow. Yeah. So this was actually all Talia's plan the whole time. She was gonna bring out the Court of Owls and then have the knights fight him, and then that would lead her right to where she needed to go. And I kind of enjoyed that twist. I was like, all right, so Talia is taking up her dad's mantle, and yeah.
Yeah.
Again, keep in mind in between this, we were doing the side missions. So yeah, because that's why I literally just went in and copy and pasted the plot synopsis so I could just use it as reference points. So after this, we get to our final enemy type of the game, the man bats, because we also find out. Remember how we said Kirk Langstrom was connected to this story somehow? Oh yeah, because they were developing man bats. So now we got to fight these fucking man bats, which were a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Because it got to a point too where like we'd have to find them, and then
Yeah,
we'd have to go
you have to go
all.
to a certain location and find them. Yeah.
Then you'd have to fight it, and then it was like, okay, we get to a certain point of their, and then he calls the league, and then you have to fight like 10 different
Yeah.
shadows, and there's a few times where we would fall off the building, have to
Oh
go
yeah,
off
I'd have to
the
jump
top,
back up.
and
Well, and the worst part is when you die, the
you have to wait till
checkpoint
you
is like
spawn.
2 blocks, so like almost a block away. It felt like so I had to fly over there. Yeah.
And
Um.
some of it too was like because we were so high leveled.
Oh yeah, it
Some
got really hard at the
of
end.
the the bad guys were like overpowered. So like they would hit you and it'd just be ridiculous because you would just keep dying.
Yeah, because they would level. They were our level. Yeah, because
And
we were
like
like 28, I think.
the man bats would pick you up and throw you, and you would basically die. And you couldn't do anything about it.
When we
So
first, yeah, when we first fought Clayface, there was one move that he did if he grabbed us that like legitimately took out 75% of my health, and I was like, I think we're not leveled enough for this.
there was a few times, where I would have like 3 extra like health packs,
Yeah,
and he'd be like throwing me around, and I'd use all 3, and I would still waste all
yeah.
of my life, and he would kill me, and I'd be like, "What are we doing here?"
Yeah. So
And I was
after we kill, there's 3 man bats you have to kill. So after we kill them, then we find out that we have found the Lazarus pit, and of course, shocker, it was underneath the Bat Cave. And when we were refreshing, didn't I say at one point when we were playing, I'm like, I guarantee it's tied back to the Bat Cave or something. Like I knew,
I think the very beginning of the game, I said,
because why else would Raish fight him in the Bat Cave at the beginning?
I said, there's just because it's Batman and it's the way that this game is projecting and it's the Lazarus Pit and it's Raish and it's Talia, and I said she is gonna find somehow to bring him back, and he's either gonna be the final boss battle or he's gonna be in the next game.
Again, you and I called him coming back on a country mile, and you and I both said you're gonna have to fight Bruce. Like you and I
Yep.
both knew, because yeah, you were right. Because you might have been I think you were right. I think you might have been the one that called it before I did. Because I said Bruce is coming back no matter what, and we were both like, yeah, he's coming back. But you were the one that's like, I bet you he's a boss. And
Because
yeah,
originally the way that I because I knew he was coming back regardless.
no, yeah,
But
you and I, that was a certainty.
but then they were, oh, Langstrom's dead, but the Man Bat is in this. I thought that somehow they cross mutated the Lazarus
Oh,
DNA to make him the Man Bat, because I kept saying, no, dude, he's the Man Bat, bro. But
yeah.
obviously that didn't pan out, which I think would have been a cooler twist.
So yeah, we have to fight Bruce. We beat him in one try, but he was still pretty challenging. Like I was looking back at the footage, and like he beat. I think it's even funnier because while I was watching the gameplay, I was like, oh yeah, dude, we fucked him up. And then in that moment, I swear to God, that's when me playing in the past thought the same thing, because I kind of slowed up on my attacks, and then he beat the fuck out of me because I kind of took it easy because I'm like, oh, this is right. I think this is a little too easy, isn't it? And then he just started hitting me with power moves, and I was like, oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I liked it because I was
well,
Jason the whole time. I was like ranging. I was
yeah.
using my guns from the range.
So what's really good about this fight? So for another thing too, I thought we saw it coming, but I do respect the fact that he is not the final boss and he's a sub boss. I respect that. Like, okay, you do fight him, and then you got to fight Talia. Like, I respect that, but then I also thought in my head too while we're playing, I'm like, he's gonna just die again. That's what I kept thinking. Because you at the point where he snaps out of it, we're like, you and I both probably on the same wavelength of like, well, he's Bruce, he's gonna sacrifice himself. And but I loved in that fight with him that you get him down enough to a certain level, you hit a button and you like confront him. And you and I had this thought in mind because I said the second time, like, you do it because I want to see what's different. So I hit him down as Dick and I bring him back, or hey, it's Dick, listen to me. And he's like, you're lying, you're all lying, you're dead, or whatever. And it's like, no, come on. And then he does it. We get him down again. Then you do it, and Jason was great too. He's like, "No, you're dead," and he's like, "I'm not dead. I'm right here." I know better than anyone what you're going through right now. And I'm just like,
Dude,
again, you
they
and I
do so
both.
well. It's just so good.
This game is what I love about its writing, and why again I enjoy this game so much. Is yeah, it doesn't have moments where it's predictable. Doesn't have moments that are a little cheesy, but damn it, again, I want to go back to it. It has heart, and that's
Mm-hmm.
really all I want out of something like this. And like it's dark, it's brooding, it is a Batman story, without Batman. It's kind of an interesting story of how these four people process their grief. And it's like it's a the story is so good that I can forgive so much of the gameplay. And I honestly, when I first started playing it before you and I play together, I wasn't vibing with it as much. And I was just like, I don't know if I'll really, I was like, I'll probably finish it, but yeah, I'm glad we did. I really love these last like levels. They were so good. And especially that moment with Bruce, and then you have your fight with Talia. And that was really cool because you have like this last stand because all the rest of the Court of Owls that are around, they're attacking, trying to get to the Lazarus Pit still. And it played my cutscene instead of yours because most of the time you were the host. I was playing in your game, but so you get like your cutscenes, but then randomly it started doing mine. But yeah, Dix I loved because he just stands there and he's got this whole fucking army of the owls, and he's just like, you are not getting this pit. Like it was just such a cool thing because we at this point I don't think he knows that Bruce is like snapped out of it or not or whatever. But then they have the moment with Bruce in the jet, and again, where this game is just pouring on the sentimentality and just the real like sweetness of it. It got me, man. I didn't cry at any point, but I definitely felt emotional, and I was like, I felt really good. Because for me, it was Bruce being at peace. And that was such a beautiful thing. It's like he finally feeling like, you and I talked about how much we love this character, and all we've ever wanted for Bruce is just for him to be happy.
Yep.
And he finally had that in that little moment, and I was like, that's so good. Because you and I both, we were playing it in the moment.
Suicide mission.
But you and I in the moment playing it, we're like, damn, this ending, they're fucking nailing this ending. Like it was good. But yeah, so Bruce essentially sacrifices himself. Do you remember the message? Because the message he said was, you all grew up, something about along the lines of you grew up so fast. And and just saying I'm proud of you and Gotham is safe with you. And then he just drives the Batwing into the ground and blows it up, sacrifices himself,
kills a lot of people in the process, which is kind of
but
ironic.
but there were some of them were zombies technically. So
it's true.
we didn't even talk about how much I fucking hate the Talons in this game. Because you literally have to like long range shoot them, and my guy is not a fucking ranged character, so I had to rely mostly on you because of your guns. I was like, ugh. But to wrap up the story, Nightwing again. It showed Nightwing for me for our game for some reason, but it's reassuring Gotham like the Knights are going to take care of Gotham. They're it's fine. We can do it.
Knighthood suits pretty dope.
No, yeah, they're pretty slick. So then you go back to the Belfry, and it's kind of like a post-credit scene. You go back to the Belfry, and it's back to the first part of the game where you saw Batman recording his final message. But as he's doing it, fucking Dickens is in the background flapping his wings, and then
trying to get him to come up for dinner.
They're being a fucking family, and it's awesome.
And it's
so essentially what's happening. Yeah, he's like the really good bit was like it was like he was literally going through a Rolodex of all the villains that could kill him, like all the villains that he's fought.
Drowning
Quilt Man or something like that. I think
it was like bottom rung stupid villain,
or it could have been Condiment King. I can't remember, but
there was like
something along those lines.
What happens if you do you have something in here if you starve to death?
Yeah.
That was
oh yeah, and then you hear that? And Tim's like, I'm starving. You're like, you hear it? And Dick's like, you hear that? He's starving. We were gonna eat as a family. Like little shit. Again, nailing the fucking family dynamic. And then the sweet little moment at the end is he looks at the camera and he says, you always looked out for me. You were always looking out for me. And it's like, didn't cry, but I was just like, that's
I want to.
But I smiled because I'm like, he got the family he lost, And I was like, you would not have guessed when I was in the fucking cave full of skulls and bones that I would be like, wow, this is a very sweet and touching story at the end.
Yeah.
And honestly, yeah, the story will always be the best thing about this game. Unfortunately, I think, and look, the combat's fine. I enjoy it. I like I said, I like the cosmetics, but it just gets weighed down so much by the fucking grind. But
The filler, like it is,
you and
and
I said it. There's too much padding at points.
yeah, there's just too much in between where we need to go fight this guy. We need to go beat up these people. We need to go interrogate this
You have
guy.
to beat these specific bosses, and
It's just like
we didn't even get our fourth momentum ability because you had to fucking clear out owls' nests. So we never got the last momentum ability. You know that?
yeah,
We did
but
one. We didn't get the second one.
it's fine.
Anyway, so let's talk about the villains, the side missions. Mr. Freeze. You and I both love that character very dearly. I really liked his stuff. Like his
Freeze
missions
is
were
so
fun.
tragic, and you sympathize with the guy so much, and I do, and I do more now too as I have a family because it's like I would do anything
Yeah.
to have a few more moments with them.
Which what I thought was interesting about this game because so the backstory to this is he and Bruce, he stopped being a villain when Bruce said, "I will help fund the research for your to cure your wife." So he unfreezes Nora, and she's back, but then she finds out all about all the nasty villainous shit he did, so she doesn't want to be with him. Which obviously that would happen, Mister
Yeah.
Freeze. How many people did you kill so I could live? A couple thousand. Um.
Just part of Gotham.
Okay, I was exaggerating, like maybe 100. But so I thought that was interesting that they made him more like a ruthless Mr. Freeze in this, because like she's not in the picture, and now he's just like, well, fine, fuck it, I'm gonna freeze the entire city of Gotham.
Because after the first boss fight, he's like basically dying, and you turn his suit back on to save him, and he's like, "It would have been easier for you if you just let me die because I
Yeah.
have nothing left to live for." And so
Yeah,
that's basically him just saying like, "This, there's no reason
you need
for
to kill me because I'm gonna keep doing
Like, yeah,
this.
I just don't care anymore."
Yeah, which I thought was an interesting take on the character. Um, I thought his two. So this was interesting. So each side villain has two boss fights. Although I think Harley, her first thing really was it was more of a like a it was kind of like a boss room where you just fought a bunch of enemies because I don't think you fight her until the
You
final.
don't fight her.
Yeah, so it's a
technically,
show because she's
wasn't-
trying to be an influencer.
she was helping you.
Yeah, she was doing a live broadcast because she's like an influencer now as like Dr. Q or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm. Which is
But
hilarious.
so Frieza's missions were fun. I really, really liked him. I liked that he was difficult. Again, I liked all that. All the villains were difficult. Um, like the fucking well, just the whole leading up to his first fight is fun. Like it does a really good job of doing atmosphere and setting you up. And it's kind of nuts of like how much work they put into those side villain missions because you could totally avoid them.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you can just beeline it to the Court of Owls shit, which is kind of crazy. Like they put this much work, and I'm glad we did it the way we did, where we played them, running alongside doing the main story. Which I'm glad we did that because I felt like that was more fulfilling. To once we beat the game, we were like we did everything.
Yeah.
So, but you have to go climb up this building, and you just wind up this building, and it's more and more ice and snow and stuff, and it's just a really cool look, and I love it. And well, even the cut scene before it when they're like, yeah, we just got all this snow, and they're like, yeah, the weather doesn't really work like that. So
Yeah.
like, and then the boss side in itself I thought was fun. Again, I think it was a little bit more. I'm glad you were with me because you could do a little bit
So
more. You could do more
hard.
ranged
It was
than
hard
I
to
could.
get. It was hard to get.
Oh yeah, we died quite a few times fighting him the first time because we played at the same. You know, he was the same level we were. We were kind of, yeah.
Because it was cool because I like that they give you four, and again we didn't play as Robin or Barbara or Batgirl, so like we didn't really get those characters in this game because it was just Red Hood and Nightwing the whole game. Which
Yeah, if we do another playthrough, I'll play as Babs. because I dabbled with her a little bit, and then I tried Red Hood like a couple times, or like one time, and I didn't even touch Tim yet. But I dabbled with her. I kind of like her. Surprisingly enough, she's kind of like a tank, dude. Like she takes a ton of damage. And it's just funny because she's like the smallest character, but she's just this fucking tank.
Well, she's reinforced with her spine. She wears a back brace. Did you see that? So apparently she's been paralyzed
In
a long
this,
line.
yeah, in this continuity, she was paralyzed, but somehow gained the ability to walk.
Willed herself back to
Yeah, they
to
said something like that, and people were pissed because I'm like, well, yeah,
yeah.
I don't, I'm sure there's a lot of paralyzed
Like,
people that wishes they could just will themselves into walking again, guys. Like, jeez.
but I liked how our characters had their similarities, but it was also like mine's more of a range and like a powerhouse. Yours is more flippy dippy and like
Dick is like a kind of like a combat medic because I had a lot of like healing things on my team.
like they had
dude, I remote healed you a few times, right? I could literally just shoot like a health dart and you'll just get back up, which I like changed the game for us.
because toward the end trying to like respawn each other was so stupid because it was like they would just swarm
Because you
you.
got to hold the button and if you get hit, it's cancels. And I'm like, oh my God. At some point, we were like, I'll just die and just respawn.
Yeah, but I did have because again, like I said, when you would go back to the belfry, it would tell you like your stats, and mine was like 130,000 range damage, like 20,000 combat damage, and you're like 110 damage from combat and like 12 range. Because like clearly we're playing into the strengths. Because I was shooting everything. I was shooting.
You know, I think I like Nightwing so much because he kind of like the way I look at like Nightwing and Dick Grayson, I think there's a lot of similarities with him and like Spider-Man and like how he moves because he's an acrobat. He has a lot more like fluidity in the comics, but he doesn't have webs obviously, but he's got the baton, and that's kind of how he moves in this game. Like you said, he likes to he's bouncy. Like I remember that special move that I got where I shoot myself down, bounce off someone, and then use that momentum, bounce on another person, hit them, and then bounce on a third person. And then if I use my momentum like ability, which is like a super bounce, so it was like boing boing, like I was like a fucking pinball. And Nightwing is so much fun to play. I really like him, but I like how, and honestly, I played as Red Hood and I just didn't really vibe with him very much. I kind of like Barbara. I had fun with her, but like Nightwing, not only because I loved Nightwing, the character, I really just liked how he played the most. I'm sure you would probably like Nightwing.
I picked Red Hood because you said you've been playing as Nightwing. So I said, well, I guess I'll have to do it with number 2. And I clicked with it. I liked it because when I was unlocking his abilities, he basically just uses rage. So he like literally just like pumps up, and you see like the smoke and like the stuff coming around him, and he just goes and busts heads. Like there's a few cutscenes, or like not cutscenes, but like finishes where I would like hit him, uppercut him, and then I would just super kick him, and then go flying, like just stupid stuff. And like I would use mystical like blast type stuff.
Well, did you see when I can get the super where Nightwing does a fucking spinneroonie? Well, you see when I got higher level, you can at first you could only stay in one spot and do it.
Now you're like,
now I can move and just hit him.
The thing too I liked that I unlocked was turrets. Like one of my supers was I would just take out like a little turret and throw it. And then like in the boss battles and stuff, especially, I would just throw 1 or 2 of them, and I would just keep shooting at the boss while we're fighting too. It was like, I just stupid.
I would say Freeze and all that stuff. Like, so his first fight was great. His second fight was even better because then that was the first time we were like, oh shit, there's 2 fights to these, because I thought it was over with, and then we had to get some intel, and they were like, oh, they're gonna break him out of Blackgate, so then you have to fight him again at Blackgate, and then he's got like this little spider mech, and I'm like, that was fun. Harley's was weird because I remember
was irritating though, because I would try to fight, and then you'd have to grapple up. If you
Yeah.
didn't grapple up in time, you would
You
basically
hit.
die. And then you'd have to go down and respawn. And then he would hit you. And then you would shoot the grenades and stuff. And you'd have to evade the little spots, but you weren't fast enough.
Yeah.
And
I would get too antsy and I'd dodge too early.
then you're like,
Yeah. But Harley was fun. I would have appreciated it if we
did it earlier.
did it a little bit earlier because we just beat the shit out of her because we were high level. Clayface.
Yeah.
That motherfucker. So the first time we fought him, we weren't leveled up enough and we were eating shit. So we're like, okay.
We locked that or got into the first boss or that boss level early because that was one of those where you're supposed to progress and then come back to it later. But we were like, let's just keep going through it. And I think we were like
18.
Yeah.
And
we were
the
like
level cap was like 23 to 25. So we had to wait to play that one. The second time around, it wasn't bad until we got to the part. So again, this fight breaks up. So you fight him and this big, huge, because the first time you fight him, there's 3 big versions of him. And then you fight and they meld together. And there's this big, even giant version of him the second time you fight him. And then after that, he gets into the water system. And then you've got to get on your bat cycle and run out drive out of the tunnels. It took us so fucking long to get out of this tunnel. At one point, Luke is talking to me while we're driving, and I am trying to focus on this level. And we laughed for about 10, 15 minutes after this because he's talking, and I go, stop talking.
Because we're getting to the point.
Because we're close to the end. And it's getting intense. And I'm like, Luke, I just need to fucking focus on this, you know? So I'm just like, stop talking. And then he follows up. No. I want you to hear this because I don't think you remember doing this. Because you go, I know, but sometimes I get nervous. Like that. And, then and we laughed for 10 minutes about it.
Because like, the first 10 minutes, we literally kept running into each other at the exact same spot. And then we got to a point where I was ahead of you, and I'm like, oh my god, there's shit everywhere. There's just shit. And then you're like, just focus. And right as I do that, I run over one of the crates, and I died out.
I'll never forget that. And I said, just focus. And then I drive by as you get fucking eat shit, and I'm like, damn it.
And then we wasted like 20 minutes laughing.
Yeah, we kept dying because we were laughing. I was like, pause it. And then I'll never forget that. Just stop talking. Because you know how it is. Like, I was trying so hard. It's because we kept dying. And I was like, I could see it. We were so close. And then just, I get nervous. And he crashed in a wall. So we should wrap it up. Harley, Clayface, I just remember. I wish we could have done a little bit more of that, but yeah, Clayface I think was really fun just because I really liked that they just went with it and they made him like creepy and gross and nasty. But overall, I would say we ended up really enjoying this game. The pitfalls of the gameplay aside, you and I really dug the story. So, anything else you want to say before we wrap this up, Luke? We hadn't touched on. I get so nervous.
The bat cycle. I'll talk about the bat cycle.
Should have been faster.
So it needed a booster. Needed a booster.
You're nothing without your boosters.
Because and the other thing too is like there was no jump button. Like you couldn't jump.
Yeah, there was a grapple.
There was there was grapple. There was no like just jump in regular gameplay, and I thought that was stupid.
Great example of the bat cycle being too slow. I recently because I just I'm in a Batman mood, so I just recently reinstalled Arkham Knight and I was playing it a little bit. The Batmobile fucking hauls ass in that game. And, you know what I'm like? I'm barely hitting the trigger, and it's like fucking ram through 3 taco stands. Like, whoa!
I got to the point where I would just wheelie the whole time, and I would just go over cars because I don't want to have to keep bobbing and weaving. Let me just.
But once I unlocked the glider as Nightwing, that was fucking golden.
Yeah, the mystical leap was stupid. Like when
You should have just every character like Robin and Barbara makes sense to just glide with their capes. Just have Jason and Dick have the gliders. Like, why are we doing the mystical jump shit?
which again, it's cool, it's neat, but like the Lazarus pit gives you superpowers. Like I don't, I
Yeah.
don't understand, man.
Yeah.
Because even like Talia was like superpowered with her abilities because she'd been drinking the water. I guess I don't know.
Sipping on the Kool-Aid, the Lazarus pit flavor.
Because Bruce had like weird mystical powers too, which I
Yeah.
thought was whatever. But
Well, I think we talked about pretty much all we wanted to, right? I think we got all the important things out. Oh, you and I had a lot of fun playing. I think you're right as well, Luke, that I may not have enjoyed this as much if I didn't have someone to play it with. Because I told you there were a few times when you were catching up to where I was, there were a few rooms where I was like, this was hell, as because it's like they didn't scale properly to just a single play through. Like I swear, single player, I was the amount of enemies that we fought together is the amount of enemies I fought by myself, and that was fucking brutal.
it was like this when you were scanning rooms to try and find like clues and stuff. Like I overlooked so many things because like over on the desk is a pin, and it's like this tiny little dot.
And then you got to hold it.
It's way over on the other side of the map. Like you're not going to see that. So you literally have to go up to every wall almost and like detective mode. So I feel like where it had some where some of the stuff they really won over and they like did well and they did right, they did a lot more wrong. And they did a lot more where they could and I wouldn't have as big of gripes if it wasn't for the fact that it was a second generation console or next gen, and the fact that it was pushed back so many times, and you had all this time to fix your bugs and to fix all your bullshit, and you still kind of put out a mediocre playthrough.
It reeks of the games as service stuff that Avengers did, and I think they realized about halfway through development or something like they probably pivoted to like, oh no, we're not going to do this, we want you to sign in every month bullshit. We're like, we'll just make this and then have a couple extra like dungeons to play through, but nothing like significant story wise, because they haven't talked about any sort of updates like story missions or anything like that for a long time. I don't think it's happening. I don't probably think a sequel's happening, which is unfortunate. I would love to keep playing in this universe. I kind of like this. It makes me worried for Suicide Squad because I really want to play that game. That's another game we could play together, but
won't play it unless we play together. So,
well, and that's the thing though, it got delayed because it did that whole loot boxy fucking battle pass bullshit, and everybody was like, "We don't want this." First of all, we didn't want this game at all. We wanted a Superman game, but if you're gonna make this game, we don't want that. And I'm glad this game isn't. I'm glad this game, we got 30 hours of entertainment out of it. You and I had fun. We did everything we can, and it's fine. Maybe we'll come back to it at some other time. I don't know. But anyway, let's wrap it up. Luke, it's been another episode of Drawn to DC, and what do we always say?
keep drawing.
Keep on drawing.